It's me, MLB. Here is chapter 18 of Future, and this one is titled Beach Time? I bet, Shoto said. He knew Mr. Stark was an intelligent man and was always interested in how things worked. I'll see you next week. You'll be hearing from me shortly with the next lot of details, Steve said as he left with a tip of the cap as he placed it back on his head, sliding his dark glasses back on with a wry smile pulling at the corner of his lips. Shoto held it together till he shut the door and then broke into a weird, wide grin, walking quickly back to where Jem was pulling Soshi out of the high chair. Jem turned and saw the look on his face as she placed Soshi down on the floor. Excited? She quizzed, although she already knew the answer. Shoto just nodded enthusiastically and made his way around to her and grabbed her in a joyful hug. Jem giggled and pecked him on the lips. I'm excited for you. That will be wonderful to meet such big-name heroes. Shoto's eyes danced with delight and he kissed her back. I need to make arrangements at work. I need to call some people, he said suddenly, realising there was a lot to get done before he left for America. Kaminari had continued to keep coming to the mothers group, and the other mothers that had been lied to by that one mother who had accused him of sexually assaulting her started coming back too, and even made a point of apologising to Kaminari for their misjudgment of him. He was happy. Kairi was happy that that woman had left, and she was starting to see Kaminari in a new light, but still wasn't letting him get too close to her. Poor Kaminari really wanted to befriend her, because he could see that she was just a tortured soul, but sometimes a little cringy pickup line would slip out and she would turn away and storm off, leaving him to rethink all of his life choices. He decided to stop trying to force the friendship with Kairi, and just enjoyed his time there with Jinsei, who he referred to as the light of his life. Little Ginny could crawl now, and would follow Kaminari everywhere. It was adorable to see. Okay, ladies, the leader said one day, shall we organise a beach outing for the bubs? We can go to a more quiet beach that has rock pools, she suggested. Oh, that sounds amazing, one of the mothers said. Wouldn't that be a bit of a risk to the babies that can crawl? What if one crawls off towards the water and... Kaminari left it open-ended, not wanting to say the word drown. It's too horrible to say. Kairi, who was still at the back of the room, looked up from her phone. Oh, that's a change. He's genuinely concerned for the babies and not interested in checking out the girls in skimpy bikinis. But she kept her thoughts to herself. Beach day was settled, and the following Thursday was the fated day. Kiri had invited Bakugou and little Chisuke along as well, so it was a semi-reunion of the Baku squad. Kiri had baby Ginny, Bakugou had hockey, and then Uncle Kaminari was bringing up the rear with all the bags and baby accessories. Bakugou was slightly less than impressed to be out with a bunch of mothers and their babies, but he was secretly happy that his hockey and Kiri's Ginny got to spend some time together. That, and he was back with his high school mates. The mothers filed out onto the beach in their modest swimmers and oversized wide brim hats with sunnies and shawls looking like a bunch of beach mum veterans. Bringing up the rear of the group were 3 super hot young men in boardies carrying their bubs in one arm. Ovaries were throbbing all over the beach watching the extremely toned Bakugou Katsuki and Kirishima Ijiro carrying their little bundles to the water's edge to introduce them to the gently lapping waves. Kaminari hung back and set up the 2 large beach umbrellas and beach tents and arranged towels and bags, making sure everything was set before he turned to try the water out. He saw Kiri and Baku out there with their shirts off, and man did they look like demigods with their perfectly stacked torsos. He paused and pulled the collar of his open shirt and looked down at the front of his flat chest. Sure, he was toned, but he didn't have the same bulk and shape as his mates, and he'd be lying if he said that he didn't feel slightly inadequate about standing next to them. They never teased him about it or anything, but it was his own quiet, slight insecurity. He didn't want to make it look too odd by refusing to take his top off, so he quickly flicked it up over his head and tossed it into the tent. Denki, one of the mothers called to him. Could you watch my little one for a second? I just need to go to the bathroom. Oh, sure, he responded happily and trotted over to her to take her little 3-month-old in arms. The little boy was used to seeing Kaminari and was happy to go to him, grabbing at Kami's face and giggling. Oh, Denki, could you watch Akira for me, please? I need to go to the ladies too, another mum called. Sure thing, lovely. You go, I'll watch her, Kaminari replied cheerily. Akira toddled over and sat down in the sand next to Kaminari, who squatted down and gave her a little pat on the head. 3 more mothers then asked to go too, and left their babies with Kaminari, who by now was in charge of 5 variously aged bubs, and they were starting to go in all different directions down the beach. From a distance, Kairi was watching. She had said that she wasn't going to go to the beach to see if Kaminari would ditch the outing, but if he did go, she wanted to watch him from a distance and see if he really was changing his ways, or if he would let old habits resurface and go after some skimpy-ass bikini-wearing bitch that sauntered by. And so far, she couldn't help but crack a smile at Kaminari's plight. Poor Denki had his hands full watching over these kids and stopping them from either eating sand or crawling to the water, and although he looked stressed out, it was almost comical. Kairi sat down on the sand and watched, wondering just how long he could keep it up before calling for help from his 2 blissfully unaware mates who were playing in the water with their babies. One by one the mothers came back and took their babies back, leaving an exhausted Kaminari to go and join his buddies in the water. Ugh, man, I seriously hope I don't end up with triplets or anything, because dealing with multiple young kids at once is impossible, Kaminari said to Bakugou as he waded up to him in the water. What the hell are you on about? Bakugou asked. He hadn't seen Kaminari struggling with the 5 kids. Kaminari waved his hand dismissively. Don't worry about it, he said as he dove under the water. The water was a perfect temperature, and he came up looking a little bit more refreshed. Yo, Kiri, let me hold Jenny for a bit, he said as he breaststroked over to him. Okay, bro. Be careful though, yeah? Kiri said. Kaminari snorted. Dude, she's like my own daughter. Of course I'm going to be careful. Kiri smiled. I know, dude. I know. Just mandatory dad speech, he added with a wink. Kairi was about to walk down and join the group when one of her friends randomly spotted her and trotted over from further down the beach. Kai, she called out. Fancy seeing you here. What you doing? Oh, hey, Misa, Kairi said with a smile. Just here with my sis and her mum's group. Why are you up here and not down with them, though? Misa asked with a chuckle. Kairi hadn't really thought about what she was actually doing until Misa had asked her why she wasn't with the group. Hey, can you do me a favour? She suddenly asked, changing subjects as she got a brainwave. There's a guy down there. I want you to hit on him, yeah? Test him out. Misa shot Kai a devilish smile. Oh, I love this game. Which one and what do I get if I can get him to give me his number or get him to ask for mine? I'll take you out for ramen, Kai said with a mischievous smirk. This isn't the first time that Kairi had done this with her friend Misa. She was gorgeous, and almost every guy that Kai had tested had fallen victim to Misa's charm. Misa was half American, half Japanese, and had run multiple beauty pageants, blonde, toned, and blessed with the perfect hourglass figure, 36, 25, 36, with legs for days and a killer smile. It was extremely difficult for any man to turn her down. The best thing about this? Misa was a private investigator, specialising in adultery cases. Denki passed the test! We will have to wait and see.